Hello and welcome to Long's Toys. I have a Transformers Robots in Disguise review for you. This is Warrior Class Autobot Jazz. As you can see here in the packaging, he is mostly white with a little bit of red and blue for accents. Nice box art here on the top. Same art there. Otherwise, not really much to the packaging. There's a whole lot down here for the app game and the scanner, and then a bunch of, I guess, disclaimers or whatever in other languages. The instructions for transformation are here on the back. So we'll go ahead and get him out of the packaging and take a closer look. Alright, so here we have Jazz out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty good. I mean, he's definitely very, very white, but he definitely has some nice red and blue lines and detailing, which really makes him pop. I'm going to go in quick and look at his head sculpt, because while I do really like the head sculpt, he does not have his trademark visor, which I think is weird. On the show, a lot of the Autobots have like a face mask or something that can pop up like when they're getting ready to fight. And he had a visor that came down when he was kind of fighting or messing around with Sideswipe in the episode he was in. But then it retracted, and most of the episode he had just two eyes. I do like the head. I do like the design, but he's Jazz. He's got to have the visor. I mean, some things are just classic for a reason. So it does bum me that the toy did not come with the visor. While I do like the head sculpt, I do wish it had the visor. You can see he's got the big Autobot symbol here. You can scan for the app. Zoom back out here. I do really like this figure, though, I have to say. And I wanted to mention real quick, he does come transformed incorrectly in the packaging. This piece is all the way down here like it would be for vehicle mode. What you're going to do is, you can see there's a little hole right there. You're going to lift this up, and there's a little tab right there, and that's going to just lift it up until it pegs into the hole. I know it's probably hard to see, but because it's all very dark. This tab is going to go into that spot right there. And you might just want to make sure the doors up here are a little out of the way when you're doing it. But then you can push that in, and it's really nice because then it gets the hood out of the way. You can see it's pretty much level with the bottom of his crotch, so it won't get in the way of the legs, which is nice. Now you can have the doors pretty much all the way flat if you like. I kind of like them on a little bit of an angle. That's just me. You can play with that. You know, it's up to your personal preference. But I do think it's a pretty nice looking robot mode. I do like the coloring on it. Articulation wise, the head can swivel back and forth and rock back just a little bit. It is on a ball joint, but the up and down movement is pretty limited. For the shoulder here, it can swivel like this. It can also move up and down here. There is a swivel at the elbow as well as 90 degrees. So pretty good range of motion for the arms here. The wrists only go in, and that's because of the transformation. So they do not have any swiveling or anything. No waist articulation. You can see there's a ball joint here in the hip. So you get a little bit out to the side, up and down. There is a swivel right above the knee. Isn't there? Yeah, it's a little tight. There it goes. Basically where the white meets the black, but they're very tight on mine. But it is there. And then you have pretty much 90 degrees on the knee right there. And then again, the ankle articulation is just because it flips up for the transformation. So it is there, but that's pretty limited. But I do think the figure looks good. I mean, it's pretty much all the articulation you'd want for a Warrior class or Deluxe. He does come with this one large accessory. It is kind of a giant sword lance type situation. So yeah, you can kind of use it as a gun if you want. If you want to put it in his hand like this, you can pretend it's just a massive gun. Or you can put this part in his hand like this, and he can hold it like a sword. So that's kind of cool. It would have been nice to have a little bit of coloring on this instead of just one big massive white piece, but so be it. Not a big deal. It's definitely an interesting weapon. So I do like the look of the robot mode. I think articulation looks pretty great. We'll go ahead and move on to the transformation. So the transformation is pretty simplistic, but it is pretty excellent. You can go ahead and start by just go ahead and flipping the hands in. They just rotate 180 right into the forearms. You can go ahead and peg the two legs together. And then the feet will just flip up just like that. You can come around to the back and unhook this as I kind of showed you earlier. Now there's a little tab here, so you just want to kind of make sure that this piece lifts up so that when you go ahead and plug that in, and then you can put it back down on top of the tab. Now for this section, underneath here, you're going to kind of rotate these down, and you can see how there's a joint there and a joint there. So it just kind of swivels down and out, just like that. Then you can turn these around like that. This whole section here is going to lift up. And you kind of have to just move these a little bit out of the way so that you can push this down and it'll kind of click in place. And then you can go ahead and put the doors in. You can see that there's a slot right there and a tab on the door. So you just pop both of those in, really nice and simple. Oh, I'm sorry, I turned these the wrong way. You're going to turn them the other way like this. Because what's going to happen is there's a little tab right here and a little slot right there. You're going to kind of fold these back and then they'll tab in just like that. And then these pieces, there's a tab here and a slot right underneath. The forearms are going to become the front of the vehicle mode. So there you go. Very simple transformation. Very nice though. Very nice and compact. And I really do love the look of this car mode. I would say the vehicle mode really displays more of the accent colors than the robot mode does. You can see the really nice thick blue lines on the doors and on the hood with the red trim, which is very trademark Jazz. I really like that a lot. It would have been cool to see, you know, like a number on the hood, kind of like G1 Jazz has, but I understand why they didn't do that. You know, you don't always have to be exactly the same. It's such a compact and low to the ground, flat vehicle mode. I just think it's crazy. I mean, if you think about this as a real car, the front end is wider and like longer than the cab section where the person would sit. It's just a crazy design. I'm sure there are real cars out there like that. It's such a flat, low to the ground vehicle mode. Also, I think it's weird that the back window isn't painted. Like you have the windows on the side and the windshield's painted. Would have been nice to have that painted. Otherwise, I'm very, very happy with the aesthetic and the paint on this vehicle mode. You can bring the weapon back in, and you can see there's a hole on the roof, so you can go ahead. Mine's a little tight, but you can push it in there, and now you can get the weapon on the top of the vehicle mode, so he can joust with his giant lance. And the car does roll back and forth pretty nice, which I really, really appreciate. So yeah, I think that's a hell of a vehicle mode. I really enjoy it. So I have to say I'm really a huge fan of Jazz. As much as Sideswipe was a little bit of a disappointment because of the weird shoulder debacle, Jazz has no flaws engineering-wise. I mean, his shoulders even kind of rock up into place and fit nice and snug. You can move the arms around and there's absolutely no problem. I think he's fantastic. I love the robot mode. I really like the car mode as well. I think they're both solid. The only thing I could possibly pick on, and it's only from a pure G1 fan, side, I would have loved him to have the visor, and I would have maybe liked a number, like a stock car number on his hood in vehicle mode, but I understand why they went a different way. You know, they're branching out. They don't have to be a slave to G1. I do recognize that. That's just a personal thing that I would have liked. It in no way makes the figure, it's no detriment whatsoever. This guy's fantastic. I would say he's one of the best of the Robots in Disguise line so far. So if you're collecting these, I would highly recommend him. Go out and pick him up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on this guy. Please like and share this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Warrior Class Jazz from Transformers Robots in Disguise. Thanks for watching.